Welcome back. You're watching ET Now's Family Budget, where Karunya and myself have gone into the homes of an Aam Aadmi family to get in their perspective and what their wish list is on Union Budget 2019. And Karunya, I think the most common call is expenses. The family that you caught up with, was that on their wish list as well, the decrease of their expenses?
Most certainly, they spoke about expenses. I met a family called the Seksarias, and it's a small unit. They are a family of four. The mother and father, both of them are the entrepreneurs. They have two small children. One is perhaps a teenager, 14-year-old, and the other one being a 10-year-old. But essentially, they spoke about how education costs have really gone up, and how the provision given in the taxation framework when it comes to exemptions or any kind of rebate when it comes to your child tuition fee, that is really of no significance. So that was one of their pain points. They have, in fact, highlighted a lot of other important things, important concerns, and their budget wish. Take a look. Just want to start with, Sushma, perhaps you can give us an idea about how have things been for you over the last 5 years. Did you see achhe din when it comes to financial planning or ease of doing business, because you're an entrepreneur as well?
The last 5 years have been quite a challenge. As you know, I work with organic farmers and all sustainable ventures. There is a lot of delay in procuring bills, in documentation. We've had to hire additional staff, pay high professional fees, and also for the people I work with, it's been a huge change. So this transformation hasn't come about so easily. The point is that it's happening, and finally it's okay. We are happy with GST, but still it's a lot of extra work.
Okay. Other than GST, if you want to sort of look back at the last 5 years, Pawan, can you tell us how different have things been from then to now? GST, of course, is something Sushma has touched upon, which has been a challenge and a boon in some cases. But tell us about expenses professionally or at home.
There is a challenge in meeting expenses work-wise. Compliances, as Sushma mentioned, is also getting tougher, even though I personally am a fan and I truly believe that GST will lead us to a better future. But it is too cumbersome and painful for the common man to do. So that is something I wish the government does something soon. I just spoke to my CA before this interview, and he told me that we have to fill out 42 forms in a year, whether we do business or not, once we are registered under GST.
This is irrespective of the business or the sector?
Irrespective of the business. If I am filing a nil return, that means I have an entity that has got a GST number and I do zero business in it. I have 42 forms to fill out in a year. And it is impossible for me to do it personally. So I have to hire a professional who will take maybe 10,000-15,000 rupees from me per year just to do it with zero business. Right. But today I might have vendors who are giving me the products or services, and they are happy earning a few lakhs a year, which runs their houses. Instead of being employed, they are self-employed, dignified human beings who earn their living, providing us goods and services. They actually have had to shut down shop because they cannot afford that extra 20,000-30,000 rupees a year. They do not have the time nor the knowledge or the bandwidth to actually learn and study how GST is done. So it's really impacted them badly. So even though GST is good, I feel that the framework within which they expect us to work is very difficult, because we are talking about the budget and what we expect out of it. But business overall is a little slow. I am in the financial services sector, so I can see that people are being more prudent with their money. They are not being open to new investments and new ideas, and that is not good for an economy. Unless people are spending money to either do more business or consume, an economy can never move forward. And we seem to be stuck in that situation right now.
Sushma, what are the challenges or the biggest challenges you have faced in the last 2-3 years of GST's existence when it comes to interacting with people or doing any kind of transactions or business?
We work with very small time farmers who are, from the back of beyond, I would say. They barely have got one community bank account in their village. So GST is out of the question, and they don't know what an HSN code is. They can't send us proper bills. We have to sell their goods to customers and stores who want pakka bills. That's a huge problem. We've had to actually train people and waste a lot of time on just accounting. I also work with a lot of craftsmen in Bombay and all over the country, and they have not been able to get their wares in. Even sari weavers and people say handbag manufacturers, karigars, they can't sell their products here. And if they get their GST numbers and comply with all the rules, they're making huge losses. Therefore, they've had to shut shop. Okay. 2 of my main karigars have shut shop because they can't compete with the Chinese goods and their prices.
But how do you think the problem can be addressed?
Well, they'll have to find absolutely a different set of rules, because for them it's just not worth their while. They can't afford the kind of setup that is required. Okay. And they're not even aware. They don't know how to go about, so they're basically educating themselves, and it's taken them the last 2 years.
You've given us a picture as an entrepreneur. Tell us, as a consumer, how have things changed for you ever since the GST has come to play?
I think they've gone up at least 15%, household expenses. Also professional fees of doctors, lawyers, etc. It's really taken a hit.
You also have 2 small kids, adolescents, and one is a teenager. Pawan, tell us about the education situation in terms of costs, and how much has it gone up? Are there any provisions in the taxation framework, which are good or bad, or which perhaps need more tweaking?
There are no tax exemptions in our current scenario, which allow me to spend more on my child's education. So in case I don't have a surplus and I have to pay tax, I might have to choose where I can send my child, or what classes he may be able to do, or what extracurricular activities. The current budget, or the current income tax, gives me an exemption of 100 rupees per child per month, up to 2 children. That means about 2,400 rupees. Now, they may as well not give me anything, right? They may as well not give me anything. I would love to propose to the finance minister that kindly keep a separate section under exemption for education, which should be maybe at the minimum 50,000 rupees per year per child. And for the more affluent, or for the people who can afford more expensive education, have a slab-wise rate. Don't exempt everyone for everything. Make it a staggered or a slab-wise exemption, but it should be minimum 50,000 rupees. Today, even your government colleges will cost you a few thousand rupees a year. You're not even giving exemption for what is supposed to be free. Another thing that bothers me is the exemption limits for medical expenses. Right. So today, the income tax allows me an exemption of 30,000 rupees for personal medical bills and 50,000 rupees for senior citizens. Now, we all know that if something were to happen, that 30,000 rupees may not cover 1 day in hospital. So I think that should be exempt for senior citizens to any amount, and maybe for younger people, again slab-wise, maybe up to 1 lakh, nothing. Up to 2 lakhs, we'll charge you 10%, or some sort of slab rate, because 30,000 is nothing.
What about tuition fee? We were just talking about education, and that is also now under the ambit of the GST. Right. So has it also significantly gone up?
So if everyone passes on the cost to the client. Right. So if you've added GST to a service that did not have GST earlier, the tuition teacher is not going to pay for it. They're just going to charge me more. Yeah. So obviously it affects me, right? So I feel in terms of education and healthcare, maybe there should be some rationalization, or keep it at the lower slab of 5%. We should not have taxation that affects the poorest of the poor.
Are you happy with the kind of taxation structure we presently have?
I think the income tax for the kind of work I do, for entrepreneurs, is too high. Okay. I personally think personal income tax for entrepreneurs is not justified at all.
What is your view?
So, I am of slight socialist bent. So, I truly believe that the rich should be taxed more and the poor should be taxed less. But at the same time...
She doesn't seem to agree.
No, I want more money. I'm not saying I don't want more money, but I do believe that you can only create equality by taxing the rich more. And unfortunately, governments do exactly the opposite at times unknowingly. I personally believe that the exemption limit of 5 lakh rupees that exists today, that I believe up to 5 lakh rupees you're exempt if you utilize your ATC and other provisions. I think you need to raise the exemption limit because it is getting more expensive to live in the world. Right. So that is one thing. I do believe that you should exempt more, but as you earn more, you should be taxed more at a higher level. Okay. So I don't mind my 30% becoming 40%, but after I'm earning 30 lakh rupees.
But tell me, as a team, as a unit, and as somebody who's running a household, what are the top 3 things that will be on your budget wish list, whether it's personal on a more domestic basis or whether it's on a professional basis as the various roles that you all play?
Think a lot about the healthcare, and it should be more affordable and more, especially testing. Tests are, maybe doctors give concessions, but the tests are so expensive that it's impossible for the common man to even diagnose his problem. And also kids who need extra help and the tuition fees, as we discussed, for education, I think it's a big no-no to tax it so much. I think another thing we forgot, Karunya, is which I forgot, is the small factories who make, say, handbags, footwear, or any fashion accessories, could be tailors. They need to have a different set of taxation. A lot of skilled artisans have to wind up shop. These crafts will die if we don't give them a lot of impetus.
I feel they need to enhance the exemption limit for personal income tax. So what is 5 lakhs today should become maybe 8 or 10 lakh rupees. That means no one pays taxes till that amount. I feel affordable healthcare should be in place. I have an insurance business and I can see the medical premiums going up drastically every year. So it is getting unaffordable even for the affluent to insure themselves medically. It costs you 50,000 or 50,000 rupees a year to cover your family for 20 lakh rupees or 25 lakh rupees. And so that needs to be looked into.
We all have heard from Power as well as Sushma what they would like to be on top of the government's agenda this time around, and what are the things they think are at this point of time perhaps posing a bit of a challenge, a bit of a hurdle when it comes to paying the taxes, paying the GST and overall financial expenses for their family or for many others out there who are watching out very closely for the budget. It's only a couple of days more, so let's wait and see what NDA 2.0 has on offer.